A very good morning, students. So today we are going to understand about the break and continue keywords. Now these are the two important keywords that is very important. Okay, so now that we have understood about the for loop and the while loop, so let's go ahead and understand the working of the break and the continue. So first we are going to understand about the break. Now break and continue, basically both these keywords are used inside a loop, and break is used to break the loop. Okay, even though the loop has not completed all its iteration. So for example, if I take a for loop and I say I in range and I say 10, okay, so which means that this particular for loop is going to go for 10 iterations. And simply if I say print I and I run this particular code, I'm going to have a output. I will say something like a break and continue .py. So now if I run this particular code, I'm going to have an output which starts from 0 and goes till 9. Okay, so that's the output that we are going to have. And now if I make this as 5, it is but obvious that we are going to have the output from 0 to 4. So basically it is going to go for that much of that many times the iterations, the number that we specify out here in the range function. Now let's understand the working of the break statement. Suppose if I say a if statement. So basically normally we are going to use a if statement inside a loop for applying the break. So break is going to break the loop. For example, if I say if I is equal to 3, okay, and then inside this if, what I'm going to do is, okay, let me bring this print is outside the if, and inside the if what I'm going to do is I'm going to say break. Now break is a keyword, understand it. So now what is happening out here, if I keep this as 10 or even as 5, you can see the output. For example, I will show it for 5, it says 0 1 2, and now if I make this as 20, and still we are going to have the same output, that is 0 1 2. Why? Is because what happened over here, the value of I initially was 0. Then inside this loop we checked for the condition, that is whether I is equal to 3. Since the initial value of I is 0, this condition doesn't get satisfied, so it is not going to go inside this if. And then we have one more statement, so this gets skipped basically. Okay, so this condition is false, so this statement gets skipped, and then we have the next statement inside the for loop, that is print I, and so it is printing that is 0. Okay, next time I is going to be 1. When I is 1, still this condition doesn't get satisfied because I is not equal to 3, as the value of I is 1, and so it will not enter the if, and again the next statement that it is going to print is print I, that is 1. Similarly, I will become 2. Even for 2 this condition goes false, so it will not enter in the if, and then we are printing outside the if, that is outside the if and inside the for loop, that is I, so that is 2. Now the value of I will become 3. When the value of I becomes 3, this condition gets satisfied, and when this condition gets satisfied, it is going to go inside and this break statement is going to get executed. And what this break statement is going to do, this break statement is straight away going to break this loop, and the controller is going to jump right from here to the end of the program. Now since we do not have anything, for example, if I had one more statement after this for loop, like this is the end of the program, okay, something like this. Now if I run this, we are going to have an output which says 0 1 2, and then this is the end of the program. What happens is that when I becomes 3, this particular statement gets executed, and from here it is straight away going to jump out here. Okay, so whatever we have inside the loop, we had this print statement after this if statement, we had this print statement after the if statement. So what happened is, you know, since this break got executed, whatever statements we have after that inside this for loop will not get executed. And so this print statement did not got executed because the controller, it jumped from this break straight away to this particular statement that is outside this loop. Okay, so we have any number of statement inside the for loop, and if it encounters break, so it is going to straight away break that entire loop. Whatever follows after that inside this for loop will not get executed, and that is very important to understand. Okay, so this is how the break statement works. Suppose if I make this as 5, so this is going to give me the output that is 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, now you can see the output for this, that is 0 1 2 3 and 4, and then from here it straight away it will jump, it will break this loop, and it will get outside the loop, and it will print this particular statement. So break is used to break the for loop, and for breaking that for loop we require some condition, and using that if condition inside the loop we are going to break the for loop. So please understand, break is not going to break this if. Okay, this if is not a loop, it is just a statement. Okay, it just checks the condition and then accordingly it will execute the code. This break basically breaks this for loop. Okay, this is very important to understand. Now that we have gone through break, now next is, let us understand the working of continue. Now if at the place of break, if I use the keyword that is continue, what output we are going to have? Let me first run this and then I will explain the code to you. The output that we have is this, that is 0 1 2 3 4, and after 4 there is no 5. Okay, then we have 6 7 8 and 9, and then this is the end of the program. Now why we had this kind of output is because what happens with continue is, when I will become 0, this condition goes false. So straight away it is going to print I. When I will be 1, the condition goes false, it will print 1. Similarly, I will be 2, condition goes false, it prints 2. For 3 also, condition goes false, it prints 3. For 4, the condition goes false, it prints 4, and now I becomes 5. Now what happens when I will become 5, this condition gets satisfied. And now that this condition got satisfied, this continue keyword will get executed. And what will happen with that? This continue keyword, what happens is, whatever follows inside the for loop, okay, after the continue, that statement will not get executed, but the loop will not break. Okay, the loop will not break. Normally what happens, if we have 10 statements under this for loop, the 10 statement gets executed and then the controller again jumps up and takes the next value of I, right? But what continue is going to do is, it is not going to allow the next statements that follow after the continue, but the controller is going to jump right from continue and it jumps up again, and then I will take the next value, that is 6. Okay, so this particular statement got skipped because of this continue, because the controller, it jumped from here and again it went up, and now the value of I will be 6. Now that the value of I is 6, this condition again goes false, and then this print statement will print the value of I, that is 6. Similarly for 7 8 and 9, the statement goes false, and then we are going to print the value, that is 7 8 9, and so we have this particular output. So this is the difference between a break and a continue. And in future we are going to do a lot of programming, and in that particular programming we are going to make use of the break and the continue. And this is a really very useful. It comes very handy at times. Okay, so that is all about the break and the continue. Now what we are going to understand, since we have gone through break and continue, we are going to understand one more feature, that is, or one more keyword, that is the else keyword for the for loop. Okay, now we have already gone for the else part, that is you know for the if, right? But there is a keyword, and the keyword is else. Okay, and this is not elif, it else. So we have used this keyword before with the if, elif and else, right? It is the same keyword, but now we are using this keyword for this for loop. And so you can see that indentation, that is of else and for, is same, right? It is starting right from the beginning, and this is also starting from the beginning. Okay, and I'm going to give this as break first thing. Okay, so please understand one thing, this else part does not belong to this if, because anyway this if is outside the loop. This else belongs to this for, and so you can check the indentation, it is the same indentation. Okay, so this else belongs to this for, and then inside this else I'm going to give a statement, that is the loop the loop okay, the loop went for all the iterations. Okay, something like this. Now what is going to happen out here? Okay, how does this else works for this for? Now let me tell you, if this for, okay, goes for all the iterations, suppose this number is 10, so we can understand that this particular for loop has 10 iterations, that is 0 to 9. Okay, but if this loop breaks anywhere, like what we are doing out here, then this else part will not get executed. Okay, I repeat, if this break gets executed, this else part will not get executed of the for loop. But if this for loop goes for all the iterations, that is 10 iterations, if the number is 10, if it completes all the iterations, then this else part is going to get executed. Let me just run this and I will show you the output. Okay, now you can see the output. We have 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we had this statement, that is, this is the end of the program, and this particular statement did not got executed. Why? As I said, if this loop breaks somewhere, then the statement, the else part of the for loop, will not get executed. But if the for loop goes for all its iterations, for example, I remove this if and now there is no break, so this loop is going to complete all its iterations. In that case, this else part will get executed. Okay, so let me run this one more time, and now this time we have all the iterations right from 0 to 9. Since the loop went for all the iterations, we have the else part getting executed, that is, the loop went for all the iterations, and then this is the end of the program. That's the last line of the program, right? So this is how the else part of the for loop works. Okay, so we have a else part also for the loop. Similarly, we can do this for the while loop as well. Let me work the same thing with the while loop. So I'm going to take a variable I is equal to 0, and I say I less than equal to 5, then a colon. Inside this loop I am going to say print I, and then it is very much required that I should increment I. This is not a for loop, and so if I want that this should go for 5 iterations, or okay, if it goes for 5 iterations, then I need to increment this I. Now if I run this code, I'm going to have 0 1 2 3 and 4. Now let me apply the break. So if I is equal to 3, and then I'm going to say break. Now if I run this particular code, we are going to have something like this, that is 0 1 2. It's the same output that we had for the for loop as well, isn't it? And now if I make this as continue, so it is going to jump from here straight away again to the loop. Okay, now this is a bit tricky with the while loop. Okay, what is going to happen out here if I run this code? So this is going to go into a infinite loop. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, this is continue, and okay, just a minute. Okay, this is basically, okay, you can see that this is basically going into an infinite loop, but it is not printing because this continue gets executed. From here it jumps up, but you can see that the program, that this is the end of the program, we don't have that message, right? Why? Because this is into an infinite loop. I need to terminate this. Okay, and now the loop got terminated. To just show you that the loop is actually going into infinite, I will copy this print statement from here, and first I will print and then I continue. Okay, or not here, basically just before the if. Okay, and now if I run this code, you can see that this is basically going into the infinite. Okay, you can see it is going on printing the number 3. So this is going to the infinite. So basically what we need to do is, uh, before we continue, okay, I need to increment the I. Okay, so this is a bit tricky with the while loop. And now since I'm incrementing it before, or okay, but then this is going to increment first and then going to check. Okay, we're going to check this. So the output that we're going to have with this is 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, we had 3 out here is because we are printing 0, right? Then we are printing 1, and we are printing 3 as well because we are incrementing it. Okay, and then the condition is getting checked. So how we are going to come up with that is, I'm going to say, you know, remove this if from here, and put it inside this if. Okay, and this is going to be, this is going to actually solve my problem. Okay, now if I run this, and okay, this is going to infinite again, just a minute. So I'm print, okay, this if shouldn't be inside there, that is going to go infinite. uh, so if I increment outside, okay, and one more I'm going to give it inside as well. Now okay, this is going to solve my problem. Okay, now you can see that we have 0 1 2 3 and 4. Now remove this print statement from here and put it out here. Okay, and now if I run this, you can see we have 0 1 2, and there is no 3 right now, right? Because what happens over here is, when the condition I becomes 3, we have to increment I, otherwise this goes to infinite, and then there is a continue. From here it jumps again up, and now since we have incremented I becomes 4, again this goes false, and then we are printing 4 and then incrementing I. Okay, so this is how we are going to do with the while loop. And then similarly we can have the else part for the while loop as well. So I print something like this, that this, okay, the while loop went for all its iterations. Okay, so if I run this, so most probably we are not going to have, okay, I'm using a continue, I need to use a break, so we are not going to have the output, that is the while loop went for all these iterations, because we are breaking the loop. We are breaking the loop, and since we are breaking it, this else part of this while will not get executed. Okay, children, this is a very very important activity. Please go ahead and please practice this. Okay, this you need to practice. And for the exam we have this. Okay, for the exam we have the chapters that we have done before. Please focus on the theory chapter, and more you have to focus on Python till the while loop and till the things that I've taken, okay, today, or some other programs related to the same topic. Okay, and focus on the number system as well. That is also very very important chapter. We have a lot of weightage for the number system and for Python. So please start preparing for the exam. So I hope that this particular class is very much clear to you. All the concepts are clear to you. It will not get concept will not get clear in just in one class, but you need to practice this. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye for now.